When a person is inexorable, they're stubborn, and when a thing or a process is inexorable, it can't be stopped. This is a word for people and things that will not change direction. An inexorable person is hard-headed and cannot be convinced to change their mind no matter what. Getting out into the world and doing something new and different is a fostered approach to life. You get to experience more. Change is good because you have the opportunity to embrace new experiences. And when you look back on your life, all the really amazing things that you've ever done are because of new experiences that you once had. Every new idea that I've ever had regarding these topics, Bigfoot or extraterrestrials, every new trip that I've ever taken, every new video that I've ever created, has potentially left me open for ridicule. But like Isaac Newton once said, no great discovery was ever made without a bold guess.
Hi guys, welcome back to the 401 Files. It's an absolute pleasure, as I always say, to bring each and every one of you back here with me. For anybody that is new to the channel, you've just stumbled across the 401 Files. My name is Ben and I create videos here with everything to do with cryptids such as the UK wildman, Sasquatch, UFOs, extraterrestrials and even the paranormal. If you do decide to stick around, please subscribe, hit that bell icon so you never miss a future video. And sit back guys, as I always say, grab yourself a coffee and enjoy. Beautiful, beautiful day today. Really nice winter's summery feel to it. I love the mornings where you know it's winter and there's definitely a chill. It's only like 4 degrees, but the sun is shining and there's hardly a cloud in the sky. It's absolutely beautiful. It casts all these nice golden colours as well across the ground, especially this time of morning when it's the golden hour. Absolutely beautiful. So quiet and peaceful out here as well. I haven't been here. I haven't been here this early for a long time, to be honest. I can't remember the last time I was here this early.
I've been walking and exploring the moors now for well over a year. I've been taken back by its beauty and fascinated by its history with strange and sometimes unexplainable phenomena. There is something uniquely stunning about the moors, something mysterious and quite captivating about the whole area. I'm not the only one who shares this interest. Only a few miles from this location stands RAF Fylingdales. Fylingdales is a Royal Air Force station situated on Snod Hill, right here in the North Yorkshire Moors. Strangely enough, the base's motto is Vigilamus, which literally translates to, "We are watching."
So the reason I don't like to use the word Sasquatch when we're talking about this UK cryptid that keeps being seen, or a UK Sasquatch or a Sasquatch equivalent, is because to me it just seems impossible. I mean, I've covered vast areas of the UK, woodland and forested areas. I'm not saying I've covered all of it because that just wouldn't be possible, but I've definitely covered a lot of terrain in these areas where sightings do occur. So surely there would have been something like a footprint, I don't know. I mean, all I've really got so far is tree structures, things like that. And this is why I start to lean more towards this being extraterrestrial, because I'm not for 1 minute saying that something strange isn't going on out here and people aren't seeing these things. I believe 100% and wholeheartedly that they are. I just don't believe it's a UK Sasquatch or a Sasquatch equivalent, because it would have been detected by now, surely. And to me, that the reason it hasn't is because it is extraterrestrial, or it is interdimensional. And that's why I steer more down that road than some undiscovered prehistoric ape creature or something like that. But either way, whether I'm right or I'm wrong, it's absolutely fascinating, and I love this subject so much. I love getting out into these areas where I know that people have had these sightings, and for me, the chase will never end, regardless of what it is, because who doesn't want to be out in these areas where strange phenomena takes place and talk to like-minded people about it? It blows my mind. I love the subject, and like I said, I love getting out into these beautiful areas. The search continues in my mind, but for me right now, I am 100% in favour of it being extraterrestrial or interdimensional. And it sounds far-fetched. When I say interdimensional or extraterrestrial, people think, oh, aliens, little green men, or something like that, like shapeshifters. But the alternative for me is even more far-fetched. The alternative is that this is a undiscovered ape or hominid creature living in the UK. Now, if we're talking about Canada, the playing field kind of evens out, and I'd be 50-50 that it could be something undiscovered. But here in the UK, for me, it has to be interdimensional. It has to be. And that's just my personal opinion. I'm sure that someone out there will disagree, but I don't see any other way around it. I've really started to zone in and become hyper aware of certain things that people do when discussing the UFO phenomena, the UK Sasquatch, cryptids in general, but mainly the extraterrestrial phenomena. When people talk about that, I've become really aware that people assume we're talking about one species and one species only. I don't understand why this is. Like, why do people subconsciously believe or talk about it in a way that makes you think we're only being visited by one species? It makes no sense. Like, I see it all the time on the internet, especially Facebook. People post really stupid things in these groups, and it is quite disheartening and demoralising to see, because, I mean, there was one post the other day that said, what do aliens eat? Come on now, like, when we're talking about the extraterrestrial phenomena and all the amazing things that we could be talking about, your one question to ask is, what do aliens eat? For one, that's a very stupid question, a wasted question. And for two, it's just an impossible thing to answer. But three, it just cements what I'm talking about. That question is talking like we're being visited by one species. How can you possibly answer that question? What do aliens eat? Well, what do humans eat? Do you know what I mean? Like, humans are so vastly different. We have so many different traits and behavioural patterns that you could never answer that question, because we have vegans, vegetarians, people that just eat meat, people that just eat fish, and people over in this corner will like one food, and people over in this corner will not like that food. And it's just an impossible thing to answer, because we are all so vastly different. And so, you know, it demoralises me a little bit when I do see things in these UFO extraterrestrial groups wasting time on stupid questions like this. And I'm so over these blurry photos of lights in the sky. Guys, it's 2020. If you don't accept extraterrestrials are visiting Earth by now, then you should maybe find a new interest, a new hobby, because these lights in the sky, we need to be past that by now. It could be anything and everything, like I've just said. We need to be really thinking to ourselves logically about how we're going to prove these things. And posting pictures of blurry even if I knew in my own mind, and even if I saw it with my own two eyes, and a physical object of an extraterrestrial craft in front of me, I knew it was there, I could have thrown a stone and hit it, even if that happened to me, but I took a picture and it was a flashing light and it was undistinguishable, you couldn't make out what it was, I wouldn't post it, because what good is it to anyone? It might have had an impact on me in the time, in the moment, but at the end of the day, I came away with a blurry photo of just the light in the sky. It means nothing. And sometimes it is frustrating. But yeah, like I said, I've become hyper aware that people are under this impression that only one species of alien are visiting Earth, and you need to expand your horizons, guys, a bit further, because I can guarantee almost with 100% certainty that it's probably multiple species, hundreds of species that are visiting Earth. And they'll all have different traits, different characteristics and behavioural patterns. So we can't ask specific questions as to what do aliens like to eat, things like that. It's just a waste of time. And yeah, we really need to start getting to the juicy stuff.
Now, could the Sasquatch be something physical sometimes, but other times it's not a physical thing? Yes, that is possible. Because one of my theories, and this is kind of a far out theory, is that Bigfoot kind of by its nature exists in an in-between state, kind of half in this dimension and half in another one. So without it consciously doing it, this would be like, just by its nature, it exists in an in-between state, so it slips in and out. So at some moments it could be in our dimension, and in some moments it might not be, which is why, you know, we actually see it sometimes. We catch a glimpse of it. the Patterson footage, it could be one of those times where it's, visible in our dimension. I feel like if it had the ability to consciously make itself appear and disappear, it would have made itself disappear in all these cases where we have like decent footage, like the Patterson footage and the premium footage. Be able to do that, but I feel like it might be something that it can't control.
I think one of the main reasons as well why people seem to have a hard time digesting this UK Sasquatch or a Bigfoot being extraterrestrial is because we've been shown so many times that extraterrestrials should have these big black wraparound eyes and huge heads with tiny bodies, and this has kind of been drilled into us from a very early age with movies and sci-fi novels, things like that. And so when all of a sudden someone says, no, extraterrestrials can actually be huge with long hair and very elusive, people, that doesn't tick the box as to what we think an extraterrestrial should look like. So it's hard for people to sometimes believe that. But extraterrestrials don't always have to follow the same appearance. I mean, look at the Pascagoula case. Very different description of an extraterrestrial that those two guys fishing had. If you look at the Flatwoods Monster, again, a very different description as to what we usually would perceive as an extraterrestrial. Very different indeed. It does look nothing like an extraterrestrial with wraparound eyes, a big head. In both those cases, very different indeed. And so there could be hundreds and they could all have different appearances. And maybe that's why people do have a hard time believing that it's extraterrestrial, because it doesn't fit the usual description. As I was just walking through these woods, obviously I start thinking about a lot of things that I've been talking about, and I'm at constant war with myself, because I started to think, if there is anything in the UK that's left to be discovered, it's likely going to be microscopic or insect type discoveries, things of that nature, things that are very small. But then I started to think, well, that's really stupid to think like that, Ben, because when people say that about extraterrestrials being discovered out in space, and they say, if we do find something, it's likely to be bacteria, you're the first one to say, why? And it's true, I am. I've got to hold myself accountable. When people say, yeah, if we do find anything in space, it's likely to be bacterial, like microbial life, that always gets my hair up, because I always think, like, why? Why do you think it's going to be microbial? Why does it have to be so small? The universe is vast. It could be something gigantic that we discover. But yet here I am saying the same about finding some new discovery in the UK. Like, why does it have to be small? Why do we always assume that? See, I am at constant war with myself. I do contradict myself, but I think that's a healthy thing. I think if you just get an opinion in your mind and you stick with it because it's your opinion and you're not willing to budge, that's when it's time to call it a day. The fact that I am arguing with my own thoughts and calling myself into question is a good sign.
Well, it's so bizarre, and I've said this in the past. A lot of times when people have these things on their property, they'll see the lights. I'll ask them, have you seen the lights? And most of the time, they'll see the lights before they see the creatures, which I don't really get. Eventually, they'll run into the creatures, but generally, they'll go on and on about these weird balls of light that they're seeing. I wonder why your grandson said that when they're around, the Bigfoots are around.
I don't know. I said, what? I was like, why do you say that?
I was actually through this way only about 6 or 7 weeks ago, and I started to build up a little raised bed for myself, because I knew that I was going to be coming back here in the future and maybe doing some overnighters. And so I started to build a little raised bed off the ground, put my tarp over the top, and it's been there now on its own for 6 or 7 weeks unattended. So it should be interesting to see if it's all still intact. If it's not, if it's all been completely disassembled, then maybe somebody on foot's been through this way. And it'd be a good indicator to see what is going through this way. If my tarp's all shredded, then it might be that deer's have been ripping it to shreds, but it'd be interesting to see if it's still standing and if it's still all intact. So I'm going to push that way now and see if it is there. Yeah, it looks like it's all still intact to me. The only thing that's happened here is that the sponges let loose there, maybe high winds or something like that. But yeah, definitely looks like it's been untouched, which is a great sign. So I'll probably string this back up and then we'll start making use of this in the next few weeks.
There are people who honestly believe that I'm crazy or that these topics I choose to talk about somehow make me weird. But in my personal experience, weird people keep an open mind. They are not content to take things at face value. Weird people are too complex to solely depend on common sense and logic. Weird people are deep and creative people. Weird people read the rules in order to learn which ones should be broken and how. When you're out looking in these places, it doesn't really matter if you believe in extraterrestrials, it doesn't really matter if you believe in Sasquatch or cryptids in general. What matters is that you're entertaining the idea. You're opening your mind and you're accepting that you can't possibly know all the answers. You're here to make up your own mind, and you're not just regurgitating information that you once heard from some close-minded news anchor. Talking about these topics and entertaining these ideas doesn't make you any less scientific. In fact, I love science. I always have done, and wherever I can I will always try and be scientific in my approach. But science can only operate and provide answers when there is enough data available. And if there is one thing that we can all learn from looking back at our history, it's that the absence of evidence does not always mean evidence of absence. I hope you guys have all enjoyed this short video. If you have, please do give this one a thumbs up. Drop down in that comments box below and let me know what you guys think. I've been Ben from the 401 Files, and you guys have been amazing. Until the next time guys, take it easy, stay safe, I'll see you on the next one.